So what is a coding dojo? Well, first off, the most important part is really the setting. So if you imagine the setting to, of course, have a single computer, it's attached to some kind of projector, and of course that projector is projecting up on the wall here. And then the other important part is to have a secondary space, usually a whiteboard or a flip chart, where the problem and ideas can be written up there. Along those lines, of course, you've got two pair programmers or spars who are working together, a pilot and a co-pilot, and then you have the dojo participants who are sitting around, usually no more than, I'd say, 12 to 15 people. Okay, so that's the setting. Now let's go on to the people, the roles, and it's important to note that all of these roles have to actually have someone in place at all times and acting as responsible for the job of that role. So, role number one is the sensei. As you can see here, there's no sensei listed, and that's because usually the sensei is somewhere off in the distance in the background, watching and guiding the dojo, not giving instructions or solutions, but rather pathways to the solution. Remember, there is no spoon. Okay, number two, pair programmers. These two people are the spars. One of them is the pilot, so one of them is typing, and it's their job to write down the syntax and start to throw out ideas in a way to be on the offensive, to be the attacker, and to get the ideas up on the board so that the rest of the people can overlook at it and provide other solutions. The other person, the co-pilot, the fellow pair programmer or spar, their job is to look over the other code that's being written by the first spar and to kind of be on the defensive, to try to help and suggest ideas and to kind of quietly whisper in the ear and help the first person. It's very much the idea that these two people are working together. They're not fighting. They're training one another to be able to do the best job in the same way that a kata would be performed in karate. Finally, other than your two pair programmers in the middle, are kind of the advisors. Now, it's really important to notice that all of these people that are around the room, they're all participating at the same time. Oftentimes, they'll hop up and they'll write on the problem board themselves. They'll shout out answers if they see something done differently by the primary pilot programmer. And then the other important thing to notice here is that everyone has to take an opportunity, a chance to be a pilot and a co-pilot. So you'll very much have people switch out and to take their opportunities. Usually about 15 to 20 minutes, someone will sit in the pilot and co-pilot seat and then switch out. So usually you'll take your first go as the pilot because you'll need to learn how to type the syntax. And then once you're kind of getting the idea of how to type the syntax of the code, you'll have the second co-pilot who can then swap over and help advise the new person coming in. So everyone in the entire programming dojo must participate. Which brings us to the rules, actually. So let's go on to the rules of the coding. So now let's go to the rules of the dojo. So one of the most important parts is, number one, the sensei asks questions, does not give answers. And so the real point about the sensei, who's obviously kind of somewhere in the background to this activity, is just providing guidance. There is no spoon. They're just teaching you how to move forward. Often the problem that they give or the challenge they give is given beforehand, usually a week in advance by email, so people have time to think about it. All right, rule number two. All must participate in code being written. And what it means by that is that all of these participants around the edge who need to take their turn in the middle at some point, all of these people need to be watching the primary coding board. So what's going on with the two sparring partners and what they're writing. They need to be looking up here and participating and ideally helping contribute by suggesting solutions. They should not have their own computers out. Not really. They should be, unless they're trying to look up stuff or something else. I mean, there's no strict rules, but ideally they're not coding by themselves. They're trying to team code and help this person learn as much as the rest of them will have help themselves when they code. Finally, rule number three, everyone must participate in sparring, which means that everyone must take their turn as pilot and co-pilot in both typing and also helping teach how to type. So this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, so forth and so on. Every single person should switch out at some point, come and take their turn to type, and then swap out and take their turn on helping to advise and all the rest of it and give solutions. So that, in essence, is the Coding Dojo. Cheers.